Some footballers are treated like future superstars before they can even drive. But football does not follow one schedule. Injuries, rejection, lower league football, financial pressure, and simple bad timing can delay a player's rise for years. These 10 players were not teenage sensations. Most reached the elite after other players their age had already been written off. Yet once their opportunity arrived, they built careers that nobody could ignore. Here are 10 footballers who bloomed late. Number 10, Ian Wright. Ian Wright's path was filled with rejection. Several professional clubs passed on him, and for years he played non-league football while working jobs away from the game. By the time Crystal Palace offered him a professional contract in 1985, he was almost 22. Even then, the rise was not immediate. Palace were in the second division, and Wright did not play top-flight football until the age of 25. Once he reached that level, however, there was no going back. His speed, movement, aggression, and instinct in front of goal made him one of England's most dangerous strikers. He later joined Arsenal, scored 185 goals for the club, won major trophies, and became their record scorer at the time. Wright did not receive the academy pathway that most elite players depend on. He created his own route through non-league football and turned a late opportunity into a legendary career. Number 9, Miroslav Klose. Miroslav Klose's international record makes it easy to assume that he was always destined for greatness. In reality, his early career was remarkably ordinary. At 20, Klose was playing in the 5th tier of German football and completing an apprenticeship as a carpenter. He joined Kaiserslautern's reserve team before making his Bundesliga debut at 21. His first Germany appearance came at 22, much later than most international stars. Then everything accelerated. At the 2002 World Cup, Klose scored 5 goals, all with his head. He eventually appeared at 4 World Cups, won the tournament in 2014, and retired with a record 16 World Cup goals. That record stood until the 2026 tournament, when Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappé moved beyond him. Klose was not the most glamorous striker of his generation, but his timing, movement, and consistency made him one of the most effective. His career is proof that a player can start late and still set a record that survives for years. Number 8, Olivier Giroud. Olivier Giroud spent his early 20s far away from football's biggest stage. He began at Grenoble, went on loan to East, and later dropped into France's 3rd division with Tours. Giroud did not make his Ligue 1 debut until he was 24. He earned his first France cap at 25, an age when many elite forwards have already played dozens of international matches. His breakthrough came with Montpellier. In the 2011-12 season, Giroud finished as the league's joint top scorer and helped the club win an unlikely Ligue 1 title. That earned him a move to Arsenal and opened the door to a career filled with major trophies. He won domestic and European honors with Arsenal, Chelsea, and AC Milan. With France, he won the 2018 World Cup and became his country's all-time leading scorer before Kylian Mbappé later moved beyond him. Giroud was rarely described as the fastest or most naturally gifted striker. His rise came through physical development, tactical intelligence, and patience. Number 7, Luca Toni. Luca Toni spent years moving between clubs in Italy's lower divisions. He played in Serie B and Serie C before finally making his Serie A debut at 23. His first appearance for Italy did not arrive until he was 27. That delay makes his peak even more unusual. At Fiorentina, Toni exploded. During the 2005-06 season, he scored 31 Serie A goals and won the European Golden Shoe. He became the first Italian to receive the award. A few months later, at 29, he helped Italy win the World Cup. Toni continued scoring in Germany with Bayern Munich and remained dangerous deep into his 30s. In 2014-15, at the age of 38, he shared the Serie A top scorer award. For a striker who was still searching for stability in his early 20s, that longevity was extraordinary. Toni did not simply bloom late. He kept blooming long after most forwards had declined. Number 6, Antonio Di Natale. Antonio Di Natale made his Serie A debut at 24 and joined Udinese at 26. He was respected, but few expected him to become one of the most productive forwards in modern Italian football. His best years arrived after 30. Di Natale won the Serie A scoring title in 2009-10 at the age of 32, then won it again the following season. Between 2009 and 2013, he scored at least 20 league goals in 4 consecutive seasons. He did it without playing for one of Italy's traditional giants. At Udinese, He became the system's central figure. Intelligent between the lines, quick over short distances, and lethal with either foot. Di Natale finished his career with more than 200 Serie A goals. His story is different from a player who suddenly had one great season. He reached his true peak in his 30s and stayed there. Number 5. Didier Drogba. Didier Drogba's journey was slower than people remember. His early years in France were disrupted by injuries, competition, and limited playing time. He was 23 when he joined Guingamp and 24 when he produced his first major top-flight scoring season. At 25, he moved to Marseille and became a European star. Chelsea signed him 1 year later. From that point, Drogba developed into one of the defining strikers of the Premier League era. He won 4 league titles with Chelsea, claimed 2 Premier League Golden Boots, and built a reputation for delivering in finals. His most famous moment came in the 2012 Champions League final. At 34, Drogba scored the late equalizer against Bayern Munich and then converted the winning penalty in the shootout. Many forwards are already established stars by 21. Drogba was still trying to secure regular football. His late development produced a striker built not only on talent, but also on physical and mental resilience. Number 4. José Fonte. José Fonte's career shows how late a defender can reach the top. After starting in Portugal, he moved through reserve teams and loan spells before establishing himself in England's lower divisions. Fonte joined Southampton in League One at the age of 26. He helped the club earn back-to-back promotions and finally reached the Premier League at 28. His international breakthrough came even later. Fonte made his senior debut for Portugal at 30. 2 years later, he started the Euro 2016 final as Portugal defeated France and won the first major trophy in the country's history. He later won the French league with Lille at 37, playing a central role in a team that finished above Paris Saint-Germain. Fonte was never a teenage prodigy or an expensive young prospect. He improved gradually, adapted at every level, and reached his greatest achievements after 30. Number 3. Ricky Lambert. Ricky Lambert's career could easily have ended before it truly began. He was released by Liverpool as a teenager and spent years playing in the lower divisions. While at Macclesfield Town, he even worked in a factory to support himself. Lambert joined Southampton in 2009 at the age of 27, when the club were in League One. His goals helped carry them through 2 promotions. At 30, he finally made his Premier League debut, and scored against Manchester City. 1 year later, at 31, Lambert made his England debut at Wembley. With his first touch in international football, he scored the winning goal against Scotland. He later completed an emotional move to Liverpool, the club that had released him as a teenager. Lambert did not become a global superstar, but that is exactly why his story matters. He climbed from the bottom of the professional pyramid to the Premier League and the England national team when almost nobody expected it. Number 2. Joselu. Joselu had already built a long professional career before his greatest season arrived. He played in Spain, Germany, and England, often for teams fighting in the middle or lower parts of the table. For years, he was viewed as a reliable striker rather than an elite one. Then, just before turning 33, he made his Spain debut and scored twice. In 2023, Real Madrid brought him back on loan. At 34, with Madrid seconds away from Champions League elimination against Bayern Munich, Joselu came off the bench and scored twice in the closing minutes of the semifinal. Madrid went on to win the Champions League, and Joselu also became part of Spain's Euro 2024 winning squad. He did not suddenly become a completely different player. The difference was opportunity. After more than a decade of moving between clubs, he was finally placed in the right team at the right moment, and produced the defining goals of his career. Number 1. Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy is the clearest late bloomer story in modern football. Released by Sheffield Wednesday as a teenager, Vardy worked in a factory while playing non-league football. He represented Stocksbridge Park Steels, Halifax Town, and Fleetwood Town. He was 25 when Leicester City finally signed him from the 5th tier. Vardy did not make his Premier League debut until he was 27. At 28, he made his England debut. Then came the season that changed everything. In 2015-16, Vardy scored 24 league goals, found the net in a record 11 consecutive Premier League matches, and helped Leicester City complete one of the greatest title wins in football history. He was not finished. In 2019-20, at 33, he won the Premier League Golden Boot, becoming the oldest player ever to claim the award. He later added the FA Cup and reached 200 goals for Leicester before leaving the club. Vardy went from factory shifts and non-league grounds to a Premier League title, England appearances, Champions League nights, and individual records. His story does not prove that every overlooked player will become a star. It proves something more realistic. Football careers do not all develop at the same speed, and being late is not the same as being finished. Which late-blooming footballer had the greatest career? Leave your choice in the comments, subscribe to Peak Selects, and thanks for watching.